Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. What's up, Internet? It's Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means it's a time for a little Gaming Gumbo here on Ready Check Radio, our weekly gaming wrap-up podcast. Welcome to chat. Make sure you join us live sometime, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio, RAIDEO. And if you're listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube, hey, consider heading to the .com right below you on the screen there. Follow all the socials in the upper right, notify subs, tell friends, all that stuff. Yeah, you know the drill. You've been doing this stuff for long enough. You've figured it all out. We've got a lot to cover and some hosts to do it with. First up, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
I am so happy right now. So happy.
You look thrilled.
You know what? The Ready Check Radio swimsuit calendar is on.
Wait, what?
It's a go now because we got a photographer.
Oh, my.
Mr. January, here I come.
Oh boy. Oh yeah.
Oh my.
Oh yeah.
I
That's
guess
high as I
it's
can raise
time
my
to
arm.
introduce
Oh,
the
God.
photographer.
What am I volunteering for here? What am I volunteering?
I don't know.
Me and a thong. That's
Special
what.
guest host Mike B, a.k.a. Mike B. What's up, sir? How are you?
I feel great, rested, and full of energy. Wah!
It's not like you
I'm doing
just
good.
got back from LA today or anything. Come on.
Just a week of just eating trash food and just.
That's my life, man. When do I not eat trash food?
No,
Eating trash food.
Thank you for coming to join us, though. I contacted Mike like probably about a month and a half ago, and I was like, hey. So I told him like a year or so ago, whatever it was, like, hey, I'm going to do this thing and whatever. I'd like you to come and guest host, but I want to get it established first. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, hit me up. All right, cool. So I hit him up a month ago. And he's like, oh, yeah, love to do it. No problem. Can't do it this weekend, though. Got some family thing. Okay, cool. We'll do it next week. Can't do that. What's up, Mike? Why can't you do it? Mass Effect comes out that weekend.
That was important, man. I couldn't. I'm sorry. I couldn't stop.
It was like, I can't. Mass Effect comes out that weekend. All right, the following weekend, vaccines. Then the following
Was
week.
it vaccines?
Yeah,
No.
I think it's like, okay, yeah, we'll do it the following week. So here we are a month later. True to his word, you are here. How has Mass Effect been for you? Let's start there.
Oh, we completed Mass Effect 1, and that was good. Mass Effect 2 is where everything kind of tightens up a little bit in terms of like combat and just like structural of the story and everything, the peripheral stories of the squad mates and everything, so you get to know them a little bit better than you do in the first one. And so, yeah, it was just like, it was just kind of fun going through making some slightly different decisions, but ultimately still kind of getting the same ending because no matter what I try to do, people come in, they're like, "Oh, I played Paragon, but Renegade Shepard is so much funnier." And I guess it's true. I've never played Paragon, but is he like a nerd or something? Like just like nice and just.
Jason, you're a Paragon player, aren't you?
Oh, hell no. No, I'm Renegade all the way.
Who the hell's playing Paragon then? Because it's none of us on this show.
I've been watching a guy play Paragon, and it's boring, man. Renegade all the way.
Just like Ned Flanders in a N7 armor.
Idly ho, Tally. Yeah. So welcome. Thank you for coming to do this. It has been a while since like the three of us used to do shows together. Over on the old Game Breaker. What have you been doing, Mike, since then? I mean, you obviously got the photography stuff, which has just been going gangbusters for years now, and doing some I'm very jealous at the career. I'm like, this. Why am I not the real Mike? Oh, I can't even be the fake Mike B, because he's the phony one. Like, okay,
the phony one. That's
fuck
right.
it, I'll be Magic Man.
There you go.
But seriously, you've been doing the just the news on your channel. You've been doing a bunch of other stuff on your channel.
Yeah.
Catch anybody up that isn't here watching because you're here.
So yeah, so photography's been doing great, but that's not really like that's kind of like a peripheral thing that I do to all my gaming stuff. You know, I took when I left Game Breaker, I started working full time for Zam, which you remember Zam, right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Wowhead and all those guys.
Yeah, we were sad when you went.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I disappeared too. Which sucked because I was making Warframe videos and like I was getting like all these subscribers, everything was going smooth, and then I was just like, real job, why not just try it out for a little bit? And then it lasted like 2 years. I should have known better because in the news we always talk about how you go and you get a job somewhere in gaming, and what happens? 2 years. That's it.
You're done.
And I did it to myself. I did it to myself. And so I got out of there. They basically dissolved Zam and just let everybody go. They were like, well, you can move to LA. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking move to LA for a job that might last another day.
Right.
And so, yeah, I went back to streaming and I had all these like wonderful people that they were like, hey, I remember you.
I still get
been
those.
supporting me ever since. Yeah, it's been streaming and people have been showing up and it's great. It's been a lot of fun. So, yeah, still doing it. Still doing it.
They're like, I know that guy. I know.
They're like, hey, I remember you.
Jason,
you
weren't you on Game
Darnell?
Breaker? What do you do now?
Yeah, I know.
Aren't you Darnell? Oh, man. Well, I mean, I guess we should probably cover a little bit of gaming news here instead of just
I guess.
reminiscing for an hour.
Trying both
What do we got? PlayStation State of Play was this week. And if you didn't watch it, you didn't miss much. You really didn't miss much. Except 14 straight minutes of Horizon West gameplay. And actually, I gotta say, it looked pretty sweet. Now, I was just like a lukewarm fan of the original Horizon. I'm not as gung-ho about the original Horizon as some may be. I enjoyed the game, thought it was impressive, but that was about it. I think the sequel here has me a little more interested than maybe the original did at that time. Jason, what did you think of the 14 minutes of gameplay and then the abrupt ass fade to black? We got nothing else to show you that Sony did.
Oh yeah, I agree. It looks outstanding, and as someone who I still haven't played the first one yet. I got it when it was free on the PlayStation. Like a month ago.
It's now on PC, which is pissing everybody off, right? It's not allowed to.
Yeah,
be
yeah.
on PC.
Everyone gets pissed off when a game comes to PC if it's not the perfect port or whatever. I've seen that plenty of times. But yeah, I mean, it looks amazing. As I, frankly, I thought the last one looked amazing too, even though it was only on the crappy little PS4 with its 8 polygons or whatever. But no, I mean, this one being on PS5 looks even amazinger. As I watch it too, I think of like when I played the Tomb Raider games. And that's what I'm thinking of here. Although she seems to have more gadgets and more tricks than Laura did in the modern day. Like post-apocalyptic, she's got more crazy stuff to do than Laura did. But it still looks like the same kind of sort of thing, climbing around. You can see there, shooting the bad guys, a couple of different weapons and so forth. But yeah, it's definitely something I'll look forward to once I get through the first one eventually.
Mike B, they're swimming. Yay.
Yeah.
Yay. Swimming.
Yay. I mean, it looks good, man.
It does look good.
I when I watched this, now I was high, really high when I watched this the first time. And I was like, it made me like reflect on myself a little bit. I was like, wow,
Damn,
man.
how high were you?
I'm pretty high. It was a moment. But I'm watching this, I'm just like, wow, man, I like really, really like games where the main protagonist has a bow and arrow. Like I was thinking, I'm looking back to the games that I played, and I missed the first one because it was on PlayStation. I just stopped paying attention. I was like, it's a PlayStation,
Right.
whatever. I'm not gonna. My PlayStation's for Destiny, and that's it. Otherwise, it's a paperweight. And so like I'm thinking about like all the games that I played and I really love. It's like Lara Croft, right? It's like bow and arrow. Crisis 3 bow and arrow. It's just like, it's just and Valheim bow and arrow. I just have a thing, and I didn't know this until I got really high, and I watched that video, and I was just like, damn,
found out some stuff about myself.
Yeah,
You're a Hanzo
really need to
main,
go
aren't
back.
you?
Huh?
You're a Hanzo main, aren't you?
You know what? I tried them a couple times. I thought it was pretty good, but the tanky stuff really kind of lures me in. So, you don't typically have a protagonist that's a bowyer and a tank. don't really exist in a lot of
Yeah.
games.
Reinhardt can shoot his hammer.
Really doesn't mix. Yeah, I mean, it looks gorgeous, and God, I didn't, maybe I'll have to get high and reflect upon my life to see if it teaches me anything on the philosophical front. But I did not know that about you and Bose, and neither did you. So learning stuff. It no release date, by the way, was given. So like we didn't get anything on that front. It literally was just here's 14 minutes of gameplay, a couple minutes of us talking about her arsenal, which is, yeah, Jason, to your point, it is quite the arsenal. Now, obviously, I mean, we're probably not starting the game with much of this stuff to begin with, but they reference like the breathing underwater. You're only going to be able to do that with a certain mask that she's wearing in this gameplay. You're only going to be able to do this when you have this, and this when you have this. So this is like well into the gameplay that we're seeing here. But I'll tell you what, at the end when she's fighting the big elephant one with the whole building on its back, and all of a sudden blows it up off of the elephant's back, and all these bodies go flying everywhere. I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty badass. That is pretty badass. Throwing exploding lances. Do you feel the same way about exploding lances, Mike?
That works for me too. Like an offhand or something. You got to have a good offhand.
It's a ranged, pointy stick. I mean, it's virtually the same.
I felt like I was watching. I was watching Return of the King when Legolas is taking down the Moonlight.
Oh yeah.
I'd imagine that by the end of the first game, your character's probably pretty powerful, right? So hopefully it's not like she just forgot all of her powers kind of thing, or something happened. She hit her hand.
They always do that, though.
Always give you something.
Lara Croft forgets all her stuff in the next game or whatever. So,
I mean,
how do I make explosive arrows? I forgot. I need experience points again to do that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, earn some experience points. Learn how to make it. Yeah. The one thing is, though, that I will say is, like, I'm eager to see how this little's, like, very, very story-oriented, this 14 minutes we got. I want to see like how this open world, because every open world game over probably like the last 3 years just feels the same to me right now. Like they all just, here's the fog of war and climb a tower and okay, it's cool. Now you can do this and here's some side missions. Like it just all like Assassin's Creed and even Horizon, the initial one. And we saw Far Cry 6 trailers and leaks all this week as well. And just like all those games have started to feel very, very similar to me. So I'm hoping they do something a little different on the open world front here, but we haven't gotten any peeks at that yet.
Yeah, there's definitely a formula here that they're following. It's just a matter of like, whether or not you like the combat or the something about the game that pulls you in, and it's not just, the same formulaic, where like everything is basically the same. There was another game that was released last week. I think we're gonna talk about it soon.
Yep.
Where it looks like basically Breath of the Wild, effectively, right? Biomutant, I believe.
Yep. A little further. Mad Martha already putting it in chat, but yeah, we'll have it in the show notes a little later just to get some gut reactions to that, because it's a little bit mixed on the internet depending on who you talk to. But yeah, that was all the state of play was. And literally, like they said, they had this like, it was running for about like 14 hours ahead of state of play. And I don't know if either of you tuned in at any point during it, but they were just like showing almost like on this island where she's at or wherever she's at, because it's like in the United States, southern United States, northern Mexico.
San Francisco.
This
is
the
actual, there's a bridge right there you see in the video.
So they were like, it was like security camera footage, just like cameras in various locations just shooting the scenery, and it just rotated through that for 14 hours. And they said, hey, join us for State of Play, where we're going to kick it off with 14 uninterrupted minutes of Horizon West gameplay. Okay, cool. Sweet. Let's do it. Because the last one or two have been, you could have just sent out a press release. You didn't have to do this. The show went live. They showed exactly 14 minutes. They talked to the devs for 2 or 3 minutes, and then it literally cut to black. That was the end of the broadcast. There was nothing else in the State of Play. So maybe not the best. Yeah, I mean, true. Truth in advertising, I guess.
But on the other hand, it's like they knew that's what you're waiting for, and as soon as that gets shown, you're going to move away anyway. So why even bother?
Yeah, I guess they like sent an email to developers. They were like, anybody want to be in State of Play after 14 minutes of Horizon footage? And everybody's like, fuck,
you can't
no.
follow that up. Yeah.
No. We'll see you in next month's State of Play. No problem. Other streams were happening this week. We're getting a lot of streams because, as we talked about many, many weeks ago on Gaming Gumbo here, there was there's a lot of games celebrating anniversaries this year. A ton of games celebrating like 20, 25, 30, 35. They're all on key milestones. So we got the Sonic stream from the Sega team, 30th anniversary. Now, they, in addition to like a bunch of crap I don't want to talk about here, like little mobile spin-offs and shit like that, we did get a trailer for Sonic Colors Remaster.
Yeah.
Remaster. I mean, okay. I mean, it looks cool, I guess. Was anybody clamoring for this to be remastered?
So I actually just recently played through this game, both on the Wii, I think, and DS. And I gotta say, man, it's probably like the best 3D Sonic, because they had a bunch of like 3D Sonics that they tried to do.
Yeah.
But Sonic Colors is just so good. Soundtrack is so good. The wisps that they add, each one has like a different power, and so they kind of act as like an arsenal. So as you collect them, it kind of gives you another way to traverse the course. To get like drill, I think they show a clip as a drill. You kind of drill your way through, but only lasts so long, so you have to kind of get in and out. There's just all kinds of different. All the wisps are very different.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it was a great game. I'm just like, this game's only what, like 9-10 years old, and we're remastering it already?
I was surprised. I was like, is this a sequel? Because like 10 years,
that's what I thought it was.
You're definitely in like sequel range, I feel like. Not so much. And I can't say that actually, because Mass Effect, because it's Legendary Edition. So I guess I can't say that.
Jason, does this do anything for you? I don't actually know if you are a Sonic guy.
No, I'm not. One friend really never got into.
Like, do you play anything?
Out of the park baseball.
There you go. As you look at your spreadsheets.
And Total War, because I'll talk about that a little bit at some point. So there you go. That's my other big.
This Excel sheet's got great graphics. Great
Dude,
graphics.
My guy's got an 83 walk rating.
HD Excel.
Oh man, 83 walk rating.
But no, I mean, but I kind of agree. But on the other hand, you mentioned that it's not, it's only been 10 years. But how many Skyrims have we gotten over the last 10 years? So it's like, if this is the good one, if this, as they say, it's like this is the best 3D Sonic ever, I'm surprised they haven't milked it more.
Yeah, but that's different though. That's porting to different things, not a remastering or anything of a 10-year-old game. That's a little different, I think, when you're porting it to a new platform. Granted, they're milking the shit out of that cow and have been for 2 decades now. I won't begrudge you that point.
I'd have to see the side-by-side between these two, because when I look at this, it doesn't look that much different than what I've played. Yeah. Granted, though, 480p is like the max you're going to get out of a Wii with an adapter. So, yes, the graphics will be higher fidelity, but maybe that's why they were able to make a remaster of a game that is probably not the most popular Sonic game. And so they already had the assets and everything. It's like, well, we made these assets in XK, right? 4K or 1080p, whatever. And they're like, well, let's just go ahead and just re-release it.
They were like, you know what? We haven't had Sonic shit sell very well lately. What's the last one that sold really well? Colors? All right, let's do it. Jim, put it up there. We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
Didn't they just do like, they've done a bunch of re-releases of compilations and stuff like that, kind of like Mega Man did, the Mega Man Legacy, like, it's Mega Man, there's like 2 discs that you get, or 2 cartridges. They did do their own like releases. There's a couple of like combo titles that you could buy. I think on Steam you could buy the Sonic collection. So they're doing that as well, but I for some reason Colors just didn't like fit in with that collection thing.
Inferno from chat saying, because the movie did well, which I think even they were surprised at. Which I'm gonna think even they were surprised at, after they were like, yeah, we got to redo that whole hedgehog thing we did. We're gonna have to redo that. We somehow fucked up our mainstay character. So
yeah, the there's like that group of people who like, people are torn. It's like, oh, it was the whole time it was a PR scam. The whole time they had the other Sonic ready to go. And it's just like, man, I really don't think that's the case.
No,
like
I don't
when
think
they introduced the first Sonic, I was like, that's exactly what a movie studio would do to Sonic. That's exactly what they would do.
Let's give him teeth God, that's freaky. Don't do that.
Yeah, boy.
If
they
you're
really messed
waiting
that up.
for a purely new 3D Sonic, we are going to get one sometime, at least tentatively right now, next year, 2022. Now, I have nothing to show you here in the B-roll because literally all we got was Sonic running through the woods and a logo.
Yeah.
That was it. I
You
think
know
the
there's gonna
last
be a
3D Sonic I actually enjoyed was the Adventure series on the Dreamcast. So to take things back a little bit, I don't know who's asking for a new 3D one, chat. I don't know. 06 kind of just ruined it for everybody. But
Who's
yeah,
asking for you? Yeah.
if they can do a Sonic Adventure 2-ish type thing, I'm all for it. But I don't. I'm not pre-ordering any Sonic games anytime soon. Let's put it that way, Jason.
Yeah, I don't
I'll,
blame
def-
you.
I'll definitely get Sonic Colors for sure. That's a definite buy
No
for
doubt.
me.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Jason, can I convince you to buy any Sonic game? You won't buy Resident Evil games. Can I
No.
convince you to buy any Sonic games?
Well, they do have that Sonic Olympics game, and they have baseball in that, so maybe.
What? Give me a platformer you like then. Awesome. Great. Fantastic.
Dude, they're just thin. It's like it's like how in old movies or TV shows, like anytime they show someone playing a video game, they're just
giving
the kids are
subtle
going like
hints.
kids are going like this with the controller. I don't do games like that anymore. I'm too old for that shit.
Too old. Jason would love Dwarf. Yes. Dwarf romantic. You would love that. There you go. It's nice, slow pace.
I was literally just waiting until that found its way into the show somewhere.
I don't even know what that is.
He definitely was going. I'll have to buy it for him. No, I bought Jason Witcher 3. He played it for 2 hours.
I played more than 2 hours.
Boot up your fucking Steam, you liar. There is no way. Like, I was like,
I streamed it for like 3 or 4
I was
hours.
like, here you go. Here you go.
I got through the whole first area.
When it was still $60 too, Mike. I was like, here, go play it. Go play it. You'll love it.
See? Now
Played
you
it
know
for
what it's like.
13.7 hours.
Oh,
Screw you.
man, you walked in. You went AFK. Shut up.
Had the launcher open the whole time.
He was like, I don't like this game, but Mike's going to give me a hard time, so let me just leave this on. Your partner came by. I was like, what is your computer doing? It's so loud right now. I've had a game running for 14 hours.
The fans are just going.
They're going nuts. So get ready. You have Sonic 3D. Now, we do have a couple new releases I did want to bring up, one of which we already teased a little bit. Biomutants. This is 100% not my kind of game. So you just, you're not going to get a mixed bag out of me. I haven't bought it. Probably not going to buy it. Maybe I'll catch it in like a Humble Bundle on sale thing. But it has been making weird news all week on this one. Like people loving it. And then a slew of articles for 2 days about everything was freaking broken. And then patches coming out and then review bomb. Like it was been a weird week for Biomutant on this one. Jason, have you been keeping your eye on this?
First of all, I just want to say I played The Witcher 1 for 17 hours. So I actually played that more than I played 3.
I don't care. I didn't pay for that one.
I know. But yeah, I watched some streamers play Biomutant a little bit, and I really do love the character of it. And I love the setting and the voice acting. I thought was great. But as one of the guys I was watching was talking about, it just like he talked about how sound design was not good, how like the sound effects just don't have that kind of weight to them that he thought. I kind of agreed when I heard that. And he's also it was him who complained about the inventory, not me.
Wow.
But yeah, he was complaining about just having too much stuff and having to craft everything. He was spending more time in menus, it seemed, having to figure out how to do his crafting and so forth than actually playing the game. So I could see why I would have a mixed response, at least just looking at how it went for him.
Have you been biomutanting it, Mike, or were you too busy this past week doing nothing because you're totally well rested and everything?
So yeah, I'm in no position to criticize the game, but yes, I did watch a stream where they were talking about it. And what I guess one of the people had been following it for a while, and they said that leading up to the game, there was all these discussions about lore and all the story and everything. but when you actually get into the game, it doesn't have all of that.
Right.
You know, you get all these backstories and all this stuff, and it's all rich, and you think that you're gonna get that rich story experience, and then when you get in, it ends up being a little thin.
Yeah,
You know,
very
in terms of the
Destiny
delivery of
1
that
on that
story.
front, where the story's all outside.
Yeah, yeah, you have to buy the books.
Points are made up and the stories don't matter.
Exactly. I don't know. It's one of those ones I wanted to like. I wanted to be excited about, and then was a little leery of as we headed closer to launch, and there was a little delay here and there and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait for reviews, or like maybe somebody that I watch, like you, Mike, like maybe Mike B will get it, and I'll watch him stream it a little bit. But yeah, I think the more streaming I watch, the less interested I become, and that's not to say it's bad. I
Yeah.
don't think it is. I think just getting to look at it has just made me more of, yeah, that's probably not for me. Not like, oh my God, this game's crap. That's not the impression. There's a lot of love going into this game, an awful lot of love going into this game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can see right here, like it's beautiful,
Yeah.
and some of the character design stuff, it'll be like little like cousin it or thing, whatever, like little hand running around. Like there's obviously a lot of really good design in this. It's just, I guess, again, like the story is not like intertwined as deep as they would like. But Martha's saying, he's saying, I find the critics were pretty off on this one, taking small picky stuff and overblowing it. Well, the bar has been set for these kinds of games. You
Yeah.
know, like when you look at Breath of the Wilds, and it's like, okay, well, you got to have a game that's at least that in terms of, yeah, if your game's going to be reflective of that, then it should be at least that. And we had these same conversations with like other big games like World of Warcraft right back in the day and Game Breaker days, where it's like, well, what's going to be the next thing to replace it? And it's like, well, it has to be something that offers all of this stuff. Because once you have a game that sets the bar, everything else is going to be compared to it. There was another game, I think it was maybe like a mythology game I played for a little bit on Epic, that is also I guess you could say a Breath of the Wild like. And I enjoyed that too, but you know, it just didn't keep me for as long as I would have hoped. I mean, beautiful, like, you know, scenes and landscape and everything, and the combat was fun. But ultimately, it didn't pull me in as much as I would have liked.
Is that Immortals Phoenix Rising?
Yes, it's exactly what it was. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so
I
I watched
love
both of
that.
you
See,
stream that,
I love
actually.
that game.
I watched both of
Yeah.
you play
I
that.
loved it.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it when I played it, but you know what? Like, I have this thing where, like, if I play a game during the week, it has to, and it's a new game. Like, if I come back after the weekend, I'm just like, yeah, I'm over it. Oh yeah, you do got it. If I can't get back into it, then it failed the weekend test. You know, like there are games that I'm really into, but if I take a break, then I just lose it. I'm just not interested anymore.
So let me ask this then, because Hogwai
Sure.
says it in chat too. Anymore, I need the whole package. Need the story, visuals, gameplay, all the engagement levels. Is it getting harder and harder to sell us shit? Because I don't feel like it is. We're spending money still, but then we're just bitching about everything that we buy.
I think the issue is like what someone told me a while long ago, and this is actually, I think, when Steam Spy was not, you know, known to be run by a guy from Epic. But like 5 years ago, he said that the median Steam review was 82%, meaning half the games were higher than that, half the games were lower. So you see a game that's like 83, 84, you think, hey, that's pretty good. Really, it's average, because there are so many games. When you have limited time or limited money or whatever, you only have time for so many games, and you're going to play games that are higher than that, even if that one is pretty good. So maybe Biomutant's in that same category. Maybe it's all right, but we've got 8,000 other games that we'd rather play instead of it. So I think that's kind of where you get at. I mean, yeah, you talk about that, about how, you know, are we just more picky? Yeah, we kind of are, because we have so many more options. So I think that's part of it.
I don't know, because I'm still more of the camp, like, I will, okay, if your audio is crap, I will turn it off. That is number one. Like, number one. I can't listen to just like grating noises and half-ass sound design. That is number one for me. But I'm totally fine with the visuals aren't there, but it's a compelling story, or the visuals are amazing and it's a mediocre story. Like, it doesn't have to be the whole package for me, but maybe I'm an anomaly on this one.
Sure. Well, it's kind of like watching a stream, right? Like even if the picture is beautiful, if the audio is crap, you're kind of turned off by it.
Right.
And yeah, I would say the same applies to games. I mean, I've played lots of games that ultimately were shit, but because they were beautiful, and they had amazing sound design, it was just like, those senses were tingling when I was playing it, and I would enjoy it because of those things, even if it was repetitive or if it was, maybe it lacked story or something. Like, I mean, yeah, I probably played tons of games like that. Yeah, it's not great, but it's fun to play and it's a treat to the ears and the eyes.
I said almost that exact same thing though with Resident Evil 8, Jason, when we were talking about that on the show a couple of times after I beat it the first playthrough. I was like, you know what? I feel like I just played Resident Evil 4 again. Right. By the time I had ended it, I was like, wow, this hit like all the major 4 story beats and cinematic moments. And I mean, it started in a rundown European town with a zombie swarm that all of a sudden disappears when some church bells ring. Well, shit, that is like the opening of Resident Evil 4. I thought the visuals were cool. The sound design I thought was phenomenal. That was the number one thing that I thought of that game was the sound design. And you know what? I love the game. I love it. It's a rehash, basically, in a slightly different world of Resident Evil. And you know what? The sound carried it for me enough to a thumbs up. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it.
So it's kind of like The Force Awakens, a rehash of Episode 4, but enjoyable.
Enjoyable.
Yeah.
Hit him with the womps.
Dang.
Also released, this is one Jason and I have laughed quite a bit about, actually, and we'll see if you remember why, Jason. Knockout City has been released. You can actually play this one for free on your PlayStation up until tomorrow. 30th of May. They're ending this one. Jason, I have a feeling at some point you and I will be covering this over on MMOBomb.com.
It does have that look, doesn't it?
For those of you that don't know what Jason and I do on MMOBomb, that is an exclusively free-to-play gaming website. I have a feeling we'll be covering this game there at some point in the near future.
But
That's not to say that it's bad, but I think launching with a box price was the wrong call here, though. That's all.
But it is also apparently free on PC. Like I look at it on Steam, it looks like I can download it now.
Well, until May 30th, I believe.
Yeah, until May 30th. Yeah. Which I honestly I didn't know. I didn't even know that until I saw it in the show notes. Like,
that's smart of them. It looks neat. It does look neat. But I just remember, like, somebody had the audacity, right, Mike, to tell them on Twitter, hey, this should probably be a free-to-play game. I think this would do, like, really well as a free-to-play game, because you got all this cosmetics room, you all this stuff. And, like, remember, Jason, the reply was just, like, they blasted them. Like, not every game needs to be free-to-play, and it was just like, they weren't even mean. They weren't even like, your game looks like shit, go free to play. No, it wasn't that. It was, hey, this should probably be a free to play game like Rocket League. You'd probably get a bigger audience if you did it the way Rocket League currently does it. And they just like teed off on them. I think it's an interesting concept. I've downloaded it, but I haven't had a chance to play it over the last few days. So I am going to check it out while this show's uploading to YouTube and stuff like that. Because it does look fun. It's a stupid, brainless dodgeball game. And you know what? Sometimes that's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 95% positive on Steam, which is above average. It's over 82.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's what I hear is that it's good. I watched a couple streams of it. I will say that it does not stream well. As you see in the video here, there's like a lot of like high contrast neon color patterns that are very fast moving.
Yep.
And because of all of that, just think about the compression artifacts and everything. Like, so we were trying to watch it.
Your stream looks like an acid trip. What the hell?
I mean, yeah, it just looks like a lot of the attacks, everything just end up looking like they're smearing, because of that. So I'm a little hesitant of it because of the artifacting and everything that goes on when you try to stream it. Because when I try to watch it, it just looked like it's kind of hard to follow.
Ninja Panda, it's Fortnite with balls. I would consider a reword of that sentence. I'd probably consider a reword there.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a lot of fun. It's like Splatoon, like Splatoon's a lot of fun because it's just a different take on multiplayer. And visual aesthetically it looks great. And then here's another game that that delivers kind of along the same thing. It's like, here's a kind of a new take on, I mean, it's dodgeball. Like, how many other dodgeball games do we have? You know, but I agree. I didn't know about that tweet. I agree that, a game that has a lot of cosmetic potential could do really well as a free to play title. A lot of these multiplayer games come out, if they're compared to anything else that already exists. And in some place, people will say, like, for example, Fortnite with balls. It's like, that's all it takes. Guess what? Fortnite's free.
I don't think
And
that's
then
what they
that's
were
it.
going for. They were like, guys, we want to make a game.
Yeah.
How about Fortnite with balls?
Yeah.
at the
But people will
boardroom.
liken it to that, though. They'll
Yeah,
liken it to that,
absolutely.
the aesthetic
Because of
style,
the color
very cartoon.
palette. Yeah.
Yeah. Big bold colors, the big patterns, like they will liken it to that. And like I said, guess what? Fortnite is free. So would they be willing to drop $19.99 on this?
You know what though, Mike Byrne. Remember Rocket Arena? We used to talk about that. How
Yeah.
that was definitely going to go free to play someday. Well, it still isn't.
Yeah.
Even though it's like $5. But also, both of these games published by Electronic Arts. So
We'll see.
if they haven't done it with that yet,
Yeah, they may just hang on to spite us now at this point.
yeah.
Specifically spite this show. They're watching right now.
Yeah, you could get it on EA Play for maybe they're looking at this as a way to, maybe they're thinking, well, people won't buy it. Instead, they'll just pay for EA Play and they'll get a subscriber that way. Maybe they're looking at it from that perspective to try to get them into the ecosystem.
I mean, yeah, everybody is trying to boost their ecosystem after Game Pass is just like freaking going nuts.
Yeah.
Game Pass is
The
just
best deal in
disgusting
gaming.
value.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to some miscellaneous news because I want to ask you gentlemen a question.
Oh.
Yeah. Trivia time.
Oh.
Apparently, Gearbox added crossplay finally for Borderlands 3. Yay! That's good news. Oh, wait, it's not entirely good news. So Randy Pitchford, let's set aside his, the fact that it's Randy Pitchford. For a minute.
Never set that aside.
Right, let's just set that aside for a minute.
No.
I was streaming on this channel. Somebody I didn't know came in and was like, "Oh, dude, you look like Randy Pitchford." And I was like, "You fuck!" I banned him from chat.
I would too, honestly.
No, I said, "Really? I look like Randy Pitchford?" Randy Pitchford has like 50, 60 pounds on me. And he was like, "Oh, yeah." He was like, "Let me reword. You look like Randy Pitchford went to the gym." And I was like, "Oh, that's so much better. That's so much better. Thanks." What really
Like
sucks...
50-year-old Randy Pitchford.
What really sucks is I'm actually a professional magician. Like, Magic Man does not come out of nowhere. I saw women in half and card tricks
so you
and
set
shit like
yourself
that.
up.
And so is he. So is Randy. If you don't know that, Randy Pitchford is a magician. Not a good one. Not a good one. From somebody that has worked at a magic shop, that somebody's done this professionally since I was 12, that does lectures for other magicians. I feel confident saying not a good one.
Yeah. He should have made that thumb drive with his porn disappear.
Zing!
Yeah.
We'll give you the applause since we gave you the
Thank
womp womp earlier. But he did have this to tweet on the whole crossplay thing. Good news or bad news first. Good news, an update for Borderlands 3 has been prepared for release that includes full crossplay support across all platforms. And then immediately follows with bad news that totally makes that previous statement false now that I think about it.
Across all platforms.
Right. Bad news, for certification, we have been required by the publisher to remove cross-play support for PlayStation consoles. Now, the publisher that Gearbox is referencing there is 2K Games. So he's referencing the publisher. Okay? That's the publisher of Borderlands. What it doesn't actually call out here is whether Sony just pulled the, hey, we don't want crossplay in this title, or whether they pulled out the whole, hey, you're going to have to pay us, that we now know that they are doing from the Epic versus Apple lawsuit. We've seen those numbers and covered that on MMO Bomb extensively if you need caught up on that. But, and 2K maybe turned around and said, no, we're not paying for that. Or we don't know who. So I'm going to put it to you, gentlemen. Mike, you first. who pulled the trigger on this one? And I understand it's your total guess. You are not, you don't have inside knowledge on the situation or anything.
Yeah, I don't have inside knowledge, but it's
Neither of us are
definitely
Randy
Sony.
Pitchford, unlike
It's
you.
definitely Sony.
Right. So, but was it Sony or was it 2K? Sony just saying no, or 2K saying we're not going to pay you?
I think ultimately it was Sony that presented the bad deal. You know, like they're gonna want them to pay, and 2K doesn't want to pay for it. So that's it. I mean, it's. I can't imagine that. I'm sorry. I can't imagine if we're. I mean, granted, we have issues with both parties here. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Oh, yeah.
really tough. It's really tough to be like, you know, Randy's kind of the good guy here,
Right.
but it kind of feels that way. You
Well,
know,
it is like the
definitely-
whole Epic versus Apple. You're like, oh my God, you're both douches.
Yeah, I know.
I guess
I-
Epic, maybe. Jason, who's
But
at
yeah.
fault?
I think it's Sony Sony's at fault for requiring this payment, but I think that was I think they just presented a number to 2K, and 2K said nope. So, believe it or not, I actually believe Randy's speaking the truth here when he says that the publisher is removing it, because the publisher is the one who's deciding if they're going to pay or not, and
Right.
saying
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
to,
2K is
so.
the one that's going to foot the bill if they
Yeah.
add the PlayStation in.
Isn't it weird though for a developer to just kind of throw his publisher under the bus like that though?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too, which is what kind of was like, well, maybe it was just Sony that said no, because if I'm 2K in any capacity, I'm picking up the phone as soon as I see that tweet. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? Why are you doing that to us? But then it's 2K,
Well,
and I realize they don't care anyway. They don't
Yeah,
care.
I mean, there's a couple of things, right? Like one, you know, when you're Gearbox, you kind of have a lot of weight to throw around, you know?
Yeah, which is
Um,
amazing, actually, to
yeah.
me, in some respects. That after
But at the s-
Aliens, there is still weight there.
but at the same time, 2K could be setting a standard for future games. Like maybe 2K doesn't want to pay Sony ever for any game, and they're gonna try to strong arm them in much in the same way that Fortnite, the Epic, tried to strong arm Apple, by basically just saying we're not gonna do this, we're not gonna pay your whatever to do it, and you know what, people just won't buy PlayStation to play our game on your platform. So that's, you know, however that works out. But if they announce, you know, maybe a Borderlands 4 or whatever, like some other game where people are like super hype about it, and then they see that, well, it's crossplay for everything except for PlayStation, then maybe they'll be less inclined to purchase a PlayStation, because I mean,
Yeah.
not everyone's buying PS5s right now because you can't. So
I think, Jason, though,
maybe
we're
this
stuck in a bad spot right now. I think on the
Mhm.
whole Sony crossplay situation, simply because Epic did go ahead and pay them for
Mhm.
for Fortnite. I think you have as a company like 2K or Gearbox or whatever, I think there's a lot more leg to stand on and say no, we're not going to pay, and try to put pressure on Sony to cave in.
Yeah.
When there aren't companies like Epic that are perfectly willing to pay hundreds of millions of dollars for this to happen. It's like there is zero incentive for Sony to cave unless all of a sudden those checks stopped rolling in.
Well, Epic, you know, with Epic with Fortnite, you know, that's a I feel like there's a no-brainer that they just keep making
Right.
money, you know, like, so they want it to be on that platform. For
Yeah.
them, it's lucrative, and they're probably paying some fee or percentage or something like that to the platform as well. But with Borderlands 3, like it for me, it just feels like, well, what are they really gaining? Like, they won't sell another couple boxes. Everyone's already bought the game who wants to play it, you know. So it's really just a loss leader at that point. Why even bother doing it? This is an
That
opportunity for them to cut them out.
and while there is certainly you know uh, multiplayer in Borderlands 3, it's not a pure multiplayer game. You think like maybe something like Fortnite. You can do a lot of it single player. So maybe it's not as big a demand for them to have crossplay across multiple consoles.
Yeah.
Konami
Yep.
is still teasing the hell out of us, that's for sure. Which is a funny sentence to say in 2021. That Konami has anything relevant to say. If you haven't played Getsu Fumaden, the new one, Undying Moon, you really should. I might talk about it a little later. I might. But Konami's kind of saying, hey, that opened our eyes that some of our old franchises might be able to be treated with care and make some money if we funded them out to other places, just further throwing gasoline on what we've talked about on this show before on a potential Metal Gear Solid remaster and the revival of Silent Hills with Kojima and Konami, with Sony playing divorce attorney between the two of them. Those are the internal rumors that Sony wants that to happen. And then, of course, the company behind one of the best remakes in a long time, Demon's Souls on the PS5. Fantastic. Bluepoint rumored to be behind the Metal Gear Solid project. Well, Konami is not confirming either of those two things, but they are confirming, hey, we won't be at E3 this year because we don't have time. They had this statement: due to timing, we will not be ready to present at E3 this year. We want to reassure our fans that we are in deep development on a number of key projects. So please stay tuned for some updates in the coming months. While we are not participating this year, we have great respect for the ESA, and we know that 2021 will be a great success. We will continue to support the ESA and wish the best to all the participants in this year. In this year's show. A number of key projects deep in development. So kind of playing right into the rumors, Jason, without having to confirm a damn thing.
Just providing grist for shows like ours, I suppose. What are they making? Well, let's say they got like 83 different franchises. It could be any one of them. Pick one.
Yeah, exactly.
New Castlevania game confirmed. I'm into season 4 now, by the way. So
how are you enjoying it?
Along there, it's still pretty good. It's still the problem with the new season though is it was the same thing in 3 that I was like, it's going to be slow at the start, but eventually they'll get there, I suppose. But
I love season 4.
So maybe that's it. Maybe
did you watch the anime, Mike? Did you watch the Castlevania? Yeah.
No, I did not. I'm really bad at watching anime in general.
It's 4 seasons.
Try.
Go watch.
I try.
Isn't technically anime a Japanese thing? It's just an animation, a cartoon or whatever.
Yeah, that's fair.
It looks good. It looks good. It's just I haven't sat down to watch it.
It's
That's
incredible. It's incredible. Fuck you,
I don't know if it's
Konami.
incredible. I think it's good, but
It's good. Shut up, Jason. You don't like good things.
You
don't
love everything.
like good things.
You love everything.
I don't love everything. I told you I was lukewarm about Biomutant. I don't love everything. Hey, did you guys see the God of War Ragnarok logo?
Is that all we got?
Did I see it? I made it. No.
That's all we saw. And then Sony said, wait a minute, you didn't see that. You didn't see that.
John Cena did.
This is a very weirdly evolving story that's actually still kind of evolving. So in an initial presentation, for Sony, there was a slide that had a bunch of key IP logos on it. And one of them was God of War Ragnarok, which is what we all kind of expected the name of the game to be, right? Like that was what they teased, was Ragnarok. So we don't have any confirmation. Then it turned out that, hey, wait, the logo might have been fan-made and just plopped on the slide there. But then, no, Sony went ahead and updated their original investor slides, replacing the original logo with a more generic God of War logo. They didn't give any reason to any of why they had changed this logo out on the original presentation. And when asked about the original presentation, they just kind of said, hey, we're not ready to announce anything yet. You didn't see shit. Move along. Move along. So, yeah, God of War Ragnarok. Enjoy. I mean,
okay, so I was wrong. You actually hate Vikings, so therefore this would be something you would.
Yeah, I'm not a Vikings fan. You know that. Not a fan.
But no, the best part is that apparently someone at their company who putting this together just Google searched their logo and found this.
Yeah.
I feel like this has happened. Wait, didn't this happen with like the previous presidency? Didn't they use like a photoshopped like
We don't want to. We don't want
like,
to talk about all the things that happen
seal.
with
Like
that.
I was just no, I'm just saying like it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
People just Google. Oh, I'll just Google this thing I need. It'll be like images. Yeah, it's fine, whatever. And they end up grabbing something that's close, but not quite. could happen.
All right, so we all like Game Pass. We all think that's brilliant and doing well. So let me ask you this. Would you guys pay a sub if Netflix started doing games for a subscription fee, kind of like the Apple Arcade does?
If it was on top of my normal subscription and didn't, if it was maybe
Oh,
slightly
no, there's
discounted
no
based
way.
on
No,
that.
no, no, no,
No?
no. That's
Yeah.
Listen to what I said, sir. Listen.
Okay, all right.
Follow instructions, please.
Yeah, it absolutely will not be part of your existing Netflix subscription.
No, I mean, not for free. I'm saying, but like if it's like $13 for Netflix or $5 for that, maybe if together you get it for 16
The
or something.
chat is screaming no
Yeah.
extremely quickly. Like I'm kind of upset with the Apple Arcade because I wanted that that RPG that was released by I don't even remember his name, with the dioramas, Jason, that one. But it's only
the
available
one-
on Apple Arcade, and I'm like, well, I guess I don't want to play
Really?
it that badly. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was from the start. It was an Apple Arcade exclusive. And then I see Netflix. They're exploring an expansion into online gaming with the same type of service. They continue to publicly say everything's in flux. We might not even do this. But they're also not saying we're not doing this. So no confirmation, no denial. Chat seems to think no way in hell would they pay for this. Mike B, you paying for this?
Nah. Eventually, though, my Netflix subscription price will be enough to cover that. So
Right.
without actually offering the service.
Oh,
Did we just lose him?
I think we lost him.
He went silent.
Sorry.
Okay.
Naked 8-year-old boy just came running in here to say hi. So, boy, I had to stop that fast.
I figured it was a Sun moment because I saw you lean out of shot there for a second. I was like, oh, Declan
well,
ran in. That's
I'm
fine.
gonna tackle that poor kid. All right, we're good. What was the question?
You ain't paying
You're gonna buy it.
Netflix.
No.
I mean, admittedly,
Fantastic.
based on what they're saying about it not having, premier games, if it is like just the occasional thing like the diorama RPG, then I wouldn't want it either, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would probably get it initially just to be able to talk about it intelligently on this show, that week. Like, I could see, Mike, you and I, and Jason, okay, I'm going to do a month just so I can see exactly how bad this is, so I can just bash it on a stream or whatever. Or maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. But, I mean, we tried, remember Netflix, remember Gamefly? Remember when that was a thing? Remember On Live?
On Live?
Yeah, On Live. That's God, we're
Yeah.
so old.
No, but
Remember
the thing
Stadia?
is, though, these like these boxes, these services. There's a guy in my
Remember
community, Top, and
Stadia.
he uses Stadia. I forgot about Stadia. That's the
Remember
most recent
Ouya?
one. But these services, I mean, these streaming services, latency-wise, they're getting pretty good.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot, but there's still latency there. And so it's they're gonna keep on trying. Eventually, I feel like eventually it's gonna be like a norm. Like it's gonna be just accepted. The same way that we were like, I'm not gonna play games on my phone. Now there's people that exclusively only game on their phone. Like they're gonna keep on like trying to hammer this until it sticks. And Stadia tried it, but with Stadia, it's like it's Google. Like Google tries something for a
Right.
minute, and then there's like, ooh, shiny, and then they're like, oh, new.
I mean,
shiny.
there is a whole
They move
website
on.
dedicated to the products that Google has abandoned. That's
Yes.
all the website is. It's just a list of information on everything that Google's ever done that they've just abandoned.
They've
Yeah.
abandoned a Google's worth of them.
You can search their website for. There's something ironic in there. Just a little reminder, 2 weeks from now, we got E3. Any predictions you guys want to get on the table now, knowing that some people aren't going to be there, but we do have the Bethesda Microsoft conference where we kind of expect Starfield to officially be named an Xbox PC exclusive. So let's take that one off the table. Any other predictions you want to lock in for digital E3, Jason?
That was exactly what I was going to talk about with Bethesda. But other than that, I think it's going to be. My prediction is going to be there's going to be a ton of games that are announced as coming out like later this year, and like 3/4 of them will be pushed into next year because that's just how things go now.
Good old COVID, huh? Good old COVID.
No, yeah, it's COVID's fault now. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
BlizzCon moved
that's why
to
we're
early
predicting it
next
to be-
year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any predictions, Mike?
If BioWare shows up, for whatever reason, then I would imagine this would be good timing for them to give us more about Mass Effect 4. It'd be good timing for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's like fresh, we're right in the midst of reliving the Mass Effect trilogy. And so it'd be a great time for them to just leak a little bit more. Chat saying Dragon Age 4. Yeah, I mean, these are games that we kind of expect to get more news about this year. Like if we were going to E3, I would expect to see more about Mass Effect because it was announced, earlier this year. And Dragon Age 4, I think it's time, I think it's just time.
Do you think we see anything on Elder Scrolls 6? Even if it's just a trailer or something? Or is that going to be the silent game of the year?
They would have to, right?
I don't know.
think if
I
they
think
do
they might just
Starfield, I
try
think
and
that-
ride Starfield.
Yeah, I was about to say I think they want to do one of those at once. That'll be my feeling. They'll have another edition of Skyrim in some way to announce, I'm sure.
Skyrim on Android. Skyrim on Netflix streaming.
That's what it'll be. Let me buy Skyrim on another platform so I can not play it on another platform.
Beyond Good and Evil 2, I would, I think that's gone. I think that's gone. As much as I want Beyond Good and Evil 2, I think it's gone and we just don't know it yet. All right. Last thing. We were all alive in the 80s because we're old as fuck.
Some of us fucker than others.
The Guardian put together a list of the 15 greatest video games of the 80s this week, written by Keith Stewart. This list is sure not to make anybody angry, so don't worry about it. Everybody will love it and 100% agree with everything on the list. I don't want to hit every title here, but number 15 was Maniac Mansion, and I'm okay with that. I love Maniac Mansion. I played it. This is the PC version screenshot, but I played it on the NES. Rented that many times.
I
You
think I
gentlemen
did
are
too
looking at
for
it
a
like you
weekend.
don't know it.
I think I did rent that for a weekend. There's another game that was a Shadow something. It was another like point and click kind of thing. I think I played that one through more, but I think I did play Maniac Mansion a little bit and didn't get it.
Day of the Tentacle is better. Mad Martha is 100% correct. 100% correct. 14 was Jet Set Willy.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this link in chat so people can kind of look along with us.
Yeah, I had no clue what the hell that one was.
They
No.
didn't include a picture.
Full disclosure, I was born in 81, so it's not, I was very young. But yeah, I had never even heard of Jet Set Willy. 13 was
No.
Track and Field, Konami's
Oh yeah,
Track and Field.
I think Track and Field. All I can think of is this:
Yeah.
banging those run buttons.
Hell
Yeah. Use a battery, man. You got to use a battery on
Yeah,
those
you
buttons.
rolled it.
What do you mean a battery?
What?
You put a battery there and you do this.
Yeah.
You can't do that in the arcade.
Sure you can.
Oh, in the
Really?
arcade, man.
Yeah,
Nothing like the
arcade, man.
Sure
Remember
you can.
arcades? Yeah, I'm the only one old enough to remember those.
Well, yeah, that's number 12, Impossible Mission. Another one that I didn't know anything about.
Yeah, if it was a
Commodore
PC, if it was a
64.
computer game, I probably didn't know it much in those days.
Oh, see, I played a lot on the Commodore 64, but
Yeah, I never had one.
11, Kung Fu Master. If you played it on the NES, you knew it as just Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Great game, but I was actually very surprised to see it on a list of the 15 best games for the 80s.
I'm surprised they have that and not something like Karate Champ. Or even because Karate Champ was kind of like the first fighting game. It's what spawned, in some ways, Street Fighter and stuff like that. So
Oh,
10 Ultima 4. I don't think anybody's surprised that that's on there, right?
I'm surprised it's so low.
I'm surprised that it's the only RPG on there. Like, there's a lot of other stuff, whether it was the Dragon Warrior stuff or Final Fantasy.
Hmm.
And I would have rather seen those.
Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy, the original was what, like 86,
87,
87?
87, 88, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I now that you say that, I'm kind of stunned that that's not on there.
Part of me thinks that, going down this list, that they almost went out of their way to include other platforms.
Yeah.
And I think that's tough because, yeah, I was born in the 80s too, but like I didn't get a Nintendo until like the late 80s.
Same here.
So for me, it's like, I see some of these games and it's like 1984 and it's just like 1980 Pac-Man. It's like, okay, well, I played Pac-Man before. Is that the best game of the 80s? I guess so. Sure. 1980, it
Sure.
was hot in the arcades before I was, able to walk.
Number
But
9,
yeah,
Outrun, I think definitely belongs there.
Sure, yeah, Outrun was a great game. I mean, I played that in the 80s, I think.
Again, when I think 80s racing games, I'm thinking pole position,
It's-
but
Oh, that's true too. Yeah. I mean, it's just weird. The list is weird. It is like there's there's no games that I'm like, maybe. It's like, oh yeah, that's a definite for me. And then other ones that I'm like, what the no. I have no idea what that is. It shouldn't be on this list. Your list is wrong.
Yeah.
8, I think, is a no-brainer. SimCity.
Yeah.
SimCity is a no-brainer.
Mhm.
And you also have to like question, I guess, the criteria on what makes them the best, because they really don't give any. They just say button bashing arcade sports vied with the thrill of urban planning. Pac-Man ate up everything, and Super Mario Brothers smashed gaming into the mainstream. Like, there is no, to your point, Mike, about like we're trying to get everything represented by a couple different platforms, or is it just the impact they made to the 80s or gaming in general? In which case, like, SimCity has to be on any list that does that.
Yeah, you could very easily split this up into two lists and have a early 80s and a mid to late 80s, and you could have two very robust and very accurate lists, because once the NES started to get traction, it started to be picked up by basically every parent that could afford it, or maybe your friend had one. Once that started to pick up, like, that changed gaming entirely. Like, the mid 80s on are such a different gaming environment from the first. I mean, think about the 2010s, right? Like, there are games that you've played in 2012 that you probably still play today. They don't feel like they're like in 20 years. They're not going to look back and say, yeah, it was a very different 2010 to 2014 versus 2015, 2019. That whole decade can be. You can
people
pick a
play
list
World of
within a
Warcraft.
decade.
I mean, that's 17 years old. So there you go.
Yeah. So I mean, looking at this list, it's like like I said, they tried really, really hard. A lot of these titles are like pre 1985 and below, the arcade titles.
Yep. There's just
you know-
glaring omissions for calling it an 80s list. SimCity, no doubt, would be on that
Sure.
list. No doubt.
Yeah.
Robotron 2084, I don't think would ever, and it's in 7th. Like, it's not a bad game,
Yeah.
but Defender should be there instead of Robotron. Gauntlet in 1985 in 6th place. Gauntlet I could see making the list. I might disagree on where, but
Yeah.
it is the
Gauntlet,
Guardian we're
a good
talking
pick.
about, I guess. 5, Gradius. Again, I wouldn't argue with that.
Sure.
4,
Well, again, I'd probably put Defender above the side shooting spaceship one, but yeah.
4, Elite. 3, Super Mario Brothers 3. And I won't deny like the huge impact Super Mario Brothers 3 had.
It had
but
a movie.
I think you got to put Super Mario Brothers on the list, right? You have to put the original.
Wait, you mean the original Super Mario Brothers?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
For all intents and purposes, that game revived the industry here in the West.
I would. God, that's tough. I think that I don't know this for sure, but I'm fairly certain that Super Mario Bros. 3 probably boosted NES sales way more than anything else, because the movie, like, I mean, with the Wizard, like, that's such a huge PR push for a game that wasn't even released yet. So like your first glance at the game was watching the freaking movie. So like that, I would actually put Super Mario Brothers 3 on this over Super Mario Brothers 1 for sure.
Okay, but
There you go, Mike. There's a platformer I
Wow.
liked. Super Mario 3.
There you go. Super
Oh,
Mario
hey, there you
3,
go.
I will not deny its impact, its great game, it's like any of that stuff. But if you could put a top 15 list together, I think you put both or you put Mario 1. Like, I don't know if 3 stands alone. I don't know if I can
kinda
agree
do.
with you on that one.
We can all agree 2 was kind of crap.
Well, 2 was just Doki Doki Panic.
Yeah, I know,
Skin,
too.
so. Number 2, Pac-Man. Yeah, I think that's going to be on any of these lists. And then number 1 is Tetris, which is another one that I feel like, Mike, your point about 2 different lists for half a decade might have better served this. Then you put Mario on one and then Mario 3 on the other. Tetris, I feel like, is the same way, right? Yeah, it came out in 1984 for PCs and stuff like that. But Tetris didn't, like, explode until the very, very tail end of the 80s when the Game Boy popularized it as far as mass consumption. That was like very close to the end of the 80s. No doubt it makes this list, but I don't know if it's number 1. I honestly, I thought this list was going to end with the cheesy Pac-Man being number 1 because that's kind of what I just expected going in.
Yeah, I think Tetris is a good pick. Like, if I were to say what's a number 1 and between this and all the other ones on the list, I would say Tetris probably deserves to be there for sure. Just because of the reach, it's an accessible title.
Yeah.
Anybody can play. You just match the shapes. Had a catchy songs. I remember some of their ads were ridiculous, and it was just, it was just a game that your parents could play and also you could play, and everybody would enjoy it because it's the accessibility was such a broad range. So yeah, I would say yeah, Tetris probably deserves to be there.
Yeah. I don't know about number 1. That's all. I think I agree with you the more that I look at this. Like, it should be 2 lists. Because I think there's just
would you make number 1?
so many notable omissions here. There's so many notable omissions. Mario 1, how do you not have a RPG of some type, whether it's Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest adjacent?
Well, Ultima they have. That's their one.
Yeah. How is Donkey Kong not on this list somewhere?
Zelda.
How is The Legend of Zelda not on this list?
Although
somewhere?
we're all kind of Nintendo fanboying a little bit.
Yeah, see, and
I'll grant you that.
That's the split,
Yeah.
that's why. I mean, ultimately, we're arguing about a general news site, just like trying to tap into a market that they don't understand.
It's 100% clickbait. I was just like, yeah, sure, let's talk about this.
No, but still though, it is so interesting. It's like somebody sat down and made this list, and they were really confident about this list. Like, and an editor looked at this and was like, looks good.
Yep.
So to me, it just, I mean, I don't know.
Well
who the
done,
writer
Jimmy.
was,
Hit publish.
I'm willing to bet that the writer of this one is probably 10 years our senior.
There's a picture at the top of the article. He looks like he's about mid to late 30s, maybe. I'd guess, maybe early 40s.
He looks pissed.
He hasn't shaved for a while either. Of course, I'm not one to talk.
Yeah, look at his picture at the top of the article.
Okay,
and then notice how they have the.
Here it is. I looked him up. He was born 1971. He's 50 years old.
Okay.
Damn, you called it.
It's an old picture, maybe.
Called it dead on. He's 10 years older than me.
And it's nice how they have like Princess Diana holding the computer there in the photo.
I thought that too. Oh my god.
I didn't want to say that, but I thought the same thing.
All right, so now hold on. We got to fix this so chat knows what the hell we're talking about.
Well, I put the link in chat. They can all look at it.
That's fine. I'm gonna bring it up for the recording.
Okay. All right.
I literally, when I was like going through last minute to put everything together, and I was like, "What are they showing her?" No, that's not her because she's wearing a uniform.
Before she married Charles, she actually worked in a video game store, electronics store. Yeah.
So let me just fade that in for you. I'll put it right there.
Q. I am not. So the mic's here talking shit about people older than them. No, I'm just saying there has to be a reason why this list exists in its current form, and my guess of age was correct. And yes, look at that. Look at that.
I can't believe all three of us were like, "Why is that lady Diana?"
Even Martha agrees, and he would know. He's from that country, so yeah. There we go.
All right, Mad Martha sees it, and so it's not just us crazy Yankees.
We officially got a Brit helping us out on that. Okay, good.
not just our nutty Yankees. All right, gentlemen, it's time to finish up and go to our games of the week. Oh, you know how this works by now. This is the segment of the show where each of us recommends a game. Could be something we're playing now. Could be something we played 40 years ago, 20 years ago, in the 80s. It doesn't matter, that we think you should check out. And then in the YouTube comments or on the comments right down below the video on ReadyCheckRadio.com, you let us know who gave you the best recommendation for this week. Mr. Mike B., you are the guest. You can go first.
So my number one this week, I didn't play much, obviously, but I cannot wait. Now that I'm home, the game that I'm looking forward to getting it back into is Dorf Romantic. It's just like it's a tile based kind of like I don't want to say like a city builder, but you just kind of place these tiles around and you kind of expand your land. You can link together different like different pieces like rivers or lakes or train tracks and all that, and you can kind of build, it's kind of like building like a toy like train set, but there's ways you could earn more tiles, and it's super chill game until you start running out of tiles, and then it's not chill anymore. But yeah, it's a good one. Like, it's a real good relaxing title. Great music, like kind of like this lo-fi kind of ambient kind of music. Just really, yeah. The borders here really remind me of Dorf Romantic, actually, because everything is very hex based. But yeah, that's my number one title for the past couple of weeks for sure.
I'm going to go with something I mentioned earlier, Getsu Fumaden, Undying Moon. If you like roguelikes, if you like Metroidvanias, if you like seeing a old Konami title remastered and redone in a new way in a modern era. It just came out last month. Granted, many of you might not know about it since the original didn't come out in the West, but if you buy it, you can get the original as part of the package too. Plenty of weapons, plenty of action, some fantastic animation on some 2.5D sprites. Definitely recommend checking it out. Finish it up, Jason.
I'm going to go with Total War 3 Kingdoms, which is a game I played quite a lot of since it came out about 2 years ago. And now it's done.
Yeah.
Creative Assembly is done with it.
They finished the story.
They said that they're going to stop developing on it and move on, make a new game in the Three Kingdoms era, which has got some people not real happy because they've done a lot of DLC for this one set in the area around it, like around 200 BC or whatever it is, and a lot of people are not, or 200, is 80 or BC? I can never remember. But anyway, yeah, whatever. You think I'd know having played it, but yeah, they're not getting a great response because a lot of people are saying, well, why don't you just make it in this game? Why do you have a sequel that's going to be set in the same place? It's still going to be in China, but going to be different. How exactly? They didn't do a great job announcing it, and it's getting review bombed all to hell. But the original is still pretty good, and I guess this means it'll be discounted soon. So go ahead and give it a shot if you like it.
That's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Gaming Gumbo. Remember, here on Ready Check Radio, we've got 3 podcasts, one on Tuesday at 7, one on Thursday at 7, and then this one Saturday at 7, covering Snowbound, the Blizzard podcast, the Relic Grind, which is our Square Enix podcast, and then our general gaming one, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. Appreciate it if you give us a follow. Turn on those notifications, tell your friend, come on over, hang out with our entire team of volunteer streamers that hang out and chat. If you're live here joining us, we actually have a streamer coming up right after the show today. Torchwick, how are you?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I can't complain. Nobody listens. You know how it is. What are we streaming today? Are we still trucking right along?
We're going back to Resident Evil, the original. We lost a lot of progress at the end of last stream, so we're gonna have to do that first.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. You had some stuff go down in the snake battle.
No, we got past
the plant stuff.
Yeah, we did the plant boss fight, and then we got decapitated immediately, and now we have to do it again.
Fantastic. I love that you are suffering through the same things I suffered through so many years ago. Torchwick's stream, by the way, Phony, is called Games Older Than Me. He's only allowed to play games that predate his date of birth.
Dare I ask how old you are?
He's 17.
17. Oh man.
So, and
My-
basically
my
anything
goal is to
before
make you
2004 is fair game. So Resident Evil 1 is on the docket. He already beat FF6 for the first time, and Metal Gear Solid, the original on PS1, on max no radar difficulty. So
You
now
can technically play WoW Classic.
he could. He could.
Don't make me do that, please.
Throw his ass into
I
EverQuest. Put him
play,
in
I,
at
I play
$18.99.
FF11 first. Let me D-level in FF11 before I play WoW Classic, please.
Yeah. All right, so stay tuned for Torchwick. We will, of course, be live here again next Saturday. Until then, though, Mr. Mike B, where can everybody find you? Thank you so much for stopping by. It's an absolute
thank you.
pleasure doing a show with you again. It's been too long.
It has been a long time. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Thank you for working with my schedule. It's been like everything's opening up, so everyone's trying to get out and do stuff. We all gotta get hugging each other and swap and spit. But yeah, you can find me akaMikeB on all the things: Twitch, YouTube, things. so
So good at the social media.
Yes, social media, social things. Streaming every day. 1 Pacific time. It does the sub night. And that's it. Yeah. So thanks for having me.
Mr. Winter.
Find me on Twitter at Winter Informal and streaming at twitch.tv/Jason Winter.
That's how you do the social media.
Yeah,
right
see,
there.
I've done this enough times. I don't just like, you do the things and the stuff and the blah, blah. No, so just got my little outro and I'm good.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio so that we can tweet at you every time a show goes live or any one of our volunteer streamers decides to play a game. Stay safe. We'll see you on the server.